Welcome into the Marvel Stuff Podcast. And like we do every single week, we're going to discuss what would be a better halftime show. Rihanna running it back or that cool little jingle you get on StreamYard when you're like trying to test your headphones, you know?
Testing the speakers on. I don't think that's super relevant for the people
Oh,
that
dude,
don't use
people,
StreamYard. They need to know
they,
though.
everybody should know. It really
Still
should
waiting
be
on a
mainstream.
on a real SpongeBob halftime show is what I'm waiting on.
Dude, actually, though, that would be fire. I'd be jazzed about it. Either that or Robert Scherbatsky at the Grey Cup style.
Ooh
I'd watch it.
yeah.
All right, pop
Go
culture
to the
references are
mall.
great. But so is Marvel stuff, and actually, I know a little bit about that. So why don't we talk about that?
Yeah. There's a new
All right.
movie, Coach. We just watched it yesterday.
My name is Coach, and your name is Josh Kennedy from
Yep.
Facebook, and
It's
we
true.
did watch a new movie, and it was Ant-Man.
Yep.
It was Ant-Man of the Wasp, Quantumania, actually to be precise. And
Yeah. A lot of words
we're
for
going to talk about
a
it. We're
movie.
going to talk about it in full spoiler style. We
Yeah.
did
So
post a non-spoiler review last night in the parking lot, so you want to just listen to that before we give anything away. You can. If for some reason you need to hear our full spoiler review before you watch it, that's also fine. Listen away.
I do know there's a couple people out there that do that. I think you're psychos, but also I appreciate you. So stick
I
around.
I don't mind doing it for movies that I don't care about. Like if I don't really care about the movie, I'm like, I want to watch it because it's entertaining. But
Fair enough.
usually for Marvel movies, I gotta go and clean because there's too
Well,
much.
that's a lot of the reason why we go. I mean, one, we have a podcast, but we've been going to midnight premieres for a long time. I've been going for at least a little over a decade, I think. I've been going to superhero movie midnight premieres. It's gotten early and earlier. Obviously, we watched it Thursday at 5:30. But
Yeah.
either way,
Remember when
I
they
got to
used to
avoid the
like actually
spoilers.
be like
You had to wait till midnight.
midnight?
And it was
Like,
all of the theaters that you're like, all right, there's 18 theaters here, and they're all playing The Dark Knight.
yeah, it would just be a giant. What a dumb. Really think about how dumb that business plan was. Then everybody stuck in the parking lot at the same time,
Yep.
and just stupid.
They slowly learn though. It went from there's like okay we got one at 11 now, and then now it's just complete. There was 3 showtimes before our showtime at 5:30.
Yeah,
It
so
comes out the day before the release date, and I don't know why they don't just call Thursday the release date. But what do I know?
because then they have to have a Wednesday night. You know what I mean?
Yep,
See, ours could be one
that's
day
true.
sooner, no matter
You're
what
right.
you said.
You're right.
But I mean, like you said, we went to watch it. I wouldn't say the theater was packed. I think we're just talking theater experience before we get into the movie.
It was probably like 60% capacity, probably.
It was
Maybe like 50 to 60, somewhere in there.
wasn't a ton of energy. I mean, I think I've been to some of these, and you can feel the energy. Like Spider-Man, you could feel people were pumped about it.
I don't think anyone's really surprised about that, though. I mean, Ant-Man is Ant-Man. We all know he's not as good of a character as Spider-Man. We also know he didn't have, what is it, 7 movies leading up to it?
Yeah,
It was,
I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised because it felt like they were trying to have a pretty big pitch for this movie and how important and integral it was. But I guess people just still were like, yeah, but it still says Ant-Man though.
it's kind of sad because, like, I mean, you and I are obviously pretty involved in the whole Marvel conversation online, or at least we witness it, and people are falling off, man. There's a lot of people that say they lost interest in the MCU entirely 5 years ago. And like at this point, the movies for a lot of people are starting to feel weaker. So we really need another Spider-Man or another
I don't.
multiverse to really get us
It
going
feels
again.
like it feels like the money is still pretty good though. I mean, Black Panther still made a bunch of money. People
Yeah,
are still
but
watching it. Just
but
there's less
their
discussion.
overall vibe isn't like as positive anymore. Sometimes it is, obviously, but in a lot of cases it's definitely not there anymore, and the money's gonna run out if they don't. I don't know, man. I mean, obviously I'm not a movie executive. I don't know what they need to do, but it's got to be something, man. Is Guardians 3 really going to bring
No,
everybody back? Probably not.
I think it's going to be the final push towards the end of Phase 5, but it's really going to be Phase 6. That's going to be like, oh, okay. We're going to have Deadpool 3. We're going to have the X-Men.
Yeah.
We're going to have Fantastic Four.
We're excited
I
for
think
those.
Kang is great. People are going to be pumped for Kang. People like those things are going to be big deals.
Yes.
They just seem so far away right now.
Well, let's just jump into the movie. We talked about it a little bit on the spoiler-free review. I'll kick it. Yeah. Oh, hey, look at that. We're bringing in David Lozano from the Star Wars Stuff podcast.
Hey, David Joy. How's it going, David? We're live. We're talking Ant-Man. We actually haven't started talking Ant-Man yet. We were just talking
Did some intro
the
stuff.
vibe
You're right
in
on
the
time.
theater.
Cool.
You're right on
Yeah.
time.
Saw Quantumania last night, and I think we all got some thoughts about it.
Was your theater super packed, or was it like 50 to 60% filled out like ours?
My theaters are always sold out because I go to the recliner theaters, so there's like less seats.
Oh, yeah, so do we.
Even ours wasn't quite fully sold out. Does anyone think that this would have done better if they would have called it Ant-Man and Kang Quantumania? Because I think
maybe. Yeah, who knows? I don't know if that would have been
the second lead. But let's jump into it. Like we said, spoilers, so don't be afraid to hold anything back.
David, you're the perfect person to have on for this because they just like ripped off. This is Marvel's Star Wars, brought to you by whoever the hell the director was.
Didn't you get that?
Yeah, it's Peyton Reed, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it's Peyton Reed,
and he does direct Mandalorian episodes.
I love Mandalorian.
Yeah, well, maybe he shouldn't have because he just copied and pasted, and I wasn't a big fan. In the spoiler-free review, I definitely said that it was derivative, and now we can reveal I was definitely talking about Star Wars, a little bit of some other sci-fi stuff. Like I heard some people say, like, "Oh, it's got a little bit of like Dune action." I didn't feel that vibe quite as much, but it was definitely Star Wars adjacent.
I heard people mention Fifth Element as well.
I don't know what that is, so you lost me.
You haven't seen Fifth Element?
Nope.
It had a little bit of that. I would say the whole Tuscan village, and then followed by
the speed the land racers. I don't know what they're called in this movie, but it was just a rip. And the fact that like we got stormtroopers with blue heads, like what is this, dude?
Yeah,
I really thought. This is aside. I really thought we were gonna see the reveal of the mask and have it be something because they were all so uniform, and like the rest of the species isn't uniform. So I was hoping it would be like a cool other subjugated Kangs or something. But whatever.
Let's jump into it. Let's do it.
Let's jump into the movie here. There's a few different elements we want to hit on. I guess we were just talking a little bit of world building. So Quantum Realm, David, why don't you go ahead and tell us what did you think of the Quantum Realm itself?
It was a little less chaotic than I think we've seen in the past couple films here, but it was interesting. It was diverse. It was different. I didn't see any tardigrades in there floating around at all, but the
weird,
the water bears,
yeah. There you go.
But see, the Quantum Realm is actually smaller and further away from the I believe the microscopic world that you see the tardigrade. So yeah, it's a little confusing, but yeah, there were a couple of plot holes in there. But as far as like the Quantum Realm, I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with it.
It was CGI heavy, man.
Right, and they did use the volume.
There's not a single element that was real in this whole movie, it felt like. But they used the volume from Mando.
Yes, they did. And Paul Rudd told a story that somebody made the mistake because it's basically a live green screen, if you don't know what the volume is. Yeah. So it's almost like 100 and I wouldn't say 360 degrees. It's probably more like 200 degrees around the actors when they're in any scene that depicts something that's like
much more effective than your average everyday, big blue screen that they do in warehouses and a lot of things. So
the volume is cheaper. Yeah, it's a whole lot cheaper. The volume is tied to the actual camera, so when the camera moves, the scenery in the background moves, and it looks like they're actually kind of there. But Paul Rudd told the story that when they shoot on the volume, they actually have physical props on the floor, and they have stuff kind of around them, and they bring in dirt and they bring in sand, whatever. So someone actually made the mistake and they accidentally purchased manure for the dirt.
That's funny.
So they had manure all over the ground, and they were like, "What's that smell?"
That's really
and they
funny.
slowly figured out. Okay,
those costumes are not cheap either. I'm sure that was fun to dry clean.
Yeah, I'm wondering if anyone got like reprimanded or lost their job over that. I don't know, but
you never know.
Honestly, he's dead.
He's dead and buried somewhere.
Doesn't
mess around. Feige doesn't mess around. Yeah, I like the Quantum Realm for the most part. I would say, like I said, my spoiler free. There were certain elements that were I thought very unique that I've never seen anywhere, including Star Wars Fifth Element or anything. different certain creatures, certain decisions they made. I thought so, and then some I thought were a little less unique.
Original.
I still don't understand why no one has the courage to just, if you're going to create an entire fake society, why does anyone have to look human? To me, that's weird.
Well, you had
want
to get
someone
Bill
to have
Murray
balls
is
for it.
essentially what it was. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of others that look human. It is a little bit weird,
weird, but-
but what can you really do in a situation like that? In a universe where everything else is already CGI, you already have a couple of CGI characters. I mean, you got to have something to kind of ground you in reality, even slightly. So having
I don't know.
something to do with humans, I don't know. It's a good reference point for the audience. If it was all aliens, I think he would have lost some
You
people.
could have at least done like humanoid and like made them green or something. I don't know. Whatever. That's a big deal. Like I said, I like the quantum realm. I didn't like how they got there. I don't know if anyone else had that feeling, but it seemed
Didn't care
it
for
seemed
that.
rushed and sort of annoying to me. Like the way they just like.
I mean, we finally understand why Michael Pena and David Desmulchin and the mom and the stepdad, like, we know why they weren't in this film now. So I guess that
David Desmulchin was in the film.
was he a CGI character? He
I
wasn't
believe
his.
so.
Okay, he wasn't
Yeah.
his character though.
Yeah.
To be clear. But yeah, I don't know. It feels
seemed weird
like a lot, man.
because they made it sound like they had been doing this for a while, contacting the quantum realm, in what, just this one time.
They send the signal down to get like the real map. Yeah. Who knows, my dude? But I do know.
Explain that it was maybe because Janet was there, I guess. So he was
Why
trying to pull
didn't?
her in. I don't know.
I just, it felt very spacey to me. It felt like they went to, a galaxy far, far away. And it's just like, I don't know. It feels like they could have done some different elements. Like, I don't know. Did you buy into this being this microscopic universe at all? It
certainly
within
doesn't feel
context, it doesn't
microscopic.
feel small at all.
No, and I wonder if there's like they try to do it a little bit by having some of the creatures look sort of like biology, but again, to David's point, it's actually way smaller than any of that kind of stuff. So way smaller than so I don't know if there's a way to make it seem microscopic.
You know what I just thought of though? Why were the ants big when they were small on Earth and they got sucked into the same vacuum as the humans who remain the same size?
Nah, they got their technology. They've been there for I don't know. They didn't
Yeah,
shrink quite as
so-
many
so-
levels.
It said
story
they've been there a
goes-
long time, yes.
Yeah, they kind of went through time 1,000 years, so I guess maybe they just evolved or technology made them bigger. I don't know. But David S. Malchin plays Veb, that blob guy.
Nice.
asked about the holes. That's who he is.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
He
I
is
love
funny.
that guy. He's great.
That makes sense.
He's got a really cool story too. If you ever listen to a podcast with
Yeah.
him, he's a very interesting guy.
But all right. Let's jump into the plot a little bit. First, the beginning I think is interesting. The whole Paul Rudd storytelling, about his life and the Spider-Man guy. I laughed at a couple of those jokes a little bit. His whole book writing, I think, is pretty
I was
funny.
into that. I liked him writing a book. I was most of the stuff, dude. The more I think about this movie, the more I think about like how I didn't have that good of a time, which is a bummer because I wish I would have.
It's funny. The more I think about it, the more I liked it.
Really?
But
Well,
there's like elements I forgot that I liked until I am now walking through the plot, and that's one of them. I like the beginning.
Yeah, there's
Until
also
they get
an
sucked
Easter egg in a previous Marvel film or
Yeah.
TV show with the ticker that says Scott Lang to write book.
Yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
that. And I
was it
immediately,
on
when I was
one of
in
the Marvel
when I-
shows? Might have been.
And as
Yeah,
soon
sounds
as I think it was Moon Knight, and I think as soon as maybe it was She-Hulk. I think it was She-Hulk.
I think it was She-Hulk. Yeah.
As soon as he showed his book, I was like, it's the book they were talking about. So I thought
Yeah,
that
it's
was
little
funny.
things like that I can appreciate. No Shang-Chi cameo when he was in San Francisco, so that bummed me out. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you have two guys in the same city finally. Can we have just like a glance or like Katie even? I don't know, man.
It's fine. I don't mind missing out. Like you said, they got to the quantum realm so fast. They had a lot to do. So they get there. The reason they get there is a little weak or whatever. But they do all end up there. They split up so we can have two different stories.
Well, now's probably as good a time as any. Do you want to talk about the new Cassie actor and how do we feel about her as a developing thing? Like, because She's kind of like got that freedom fighter vibe, but she's got, juvenile tendencies and's been to jail like 3 times already. And for the most part, it seems like it's for good reason. So I don't know. I liked Cassie in this one, I will say. I think she wasn't my favorite character, but I also like her better than Wasp. So there you go.
And by the way, guys, about the book, it's an actual book you can go out and buy.
Paul Rudd wrote. Yeah.
Although when you
I did
actually
know about
hear
that.
him read passages, they sound terribly written, but still kind of funny. So
Yeah. I wonder if it's actually from that book. Yeah, who knows?
I would bet it is. I would bet those exact lines are in it. That is funny. Good point. Cassie herself. So the whole storyline, the idea, like for Ant-Man, he's supposed to get back in the fight. He's been being too passive to take care of his daughter and keep her safe, and she just wants to like do what is needed for the little guy. I don't know. I get it. I just don't think she was a good actress.
Did we care even a little bit that it was a new actress as compared to the old one?
No, I mean I don't. They're kids.
Well, it's just a conversation to have, just because like there's the whole recasting thing, and a lot of people are up in arms about it because they recast Harrison Ford.
I don't think the general public really noticed.
They definitely didn't. Not on this one. Yeah, you're right, 100%.
No, when it's a kid to an older kid, I'm 100% fine with it. For all we know, the kid doesn't want to be an actor anymore, or they suck. So
yep,
some kids suck. I mean, it's a miracle that Harry Potter worked at all. That those kids like.
Yeah, it is a miracle
for the most part.
That they grew up into the actors they became.
Yeah. I mean, they killed it with the casting though. A lot of them did stick with acting, and most of them were still really good.
Yeah, which is so. Who knows? Who knows? But I didn't really care for the new girl either, though. It's just
I liked her in other things I've seen her in. I think she led this one show I watched. I can't remember the name of it, but I liked her in that. So I was looking forward to her performance in this movie. And I don't know. I don't want to say I was let down because I didn't expect much, but I thought I was. She was there. She existed. She was fine.
Well, David, what did you think of that whole side story about freedom fighters and sort of Cassie trying to re-inspire her dad to
be an Avenger again?
Be Avenger again, I guess, is sort of what I was going for.
The whole freedom fighter thing was very, very cliched.
Yeah, it was.
I knew that a certain actress who was in Star Wars was going to be one of the fighters, and I actually contacted her to be on our Star Wars Stuff podcast, and she never responded back because she was in London shooting this film. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I really love that actress. Her name is Katie. I'm trying to remember her last name. I can't remember it. But yeah, it's kind of cool when you can generate brand new characters. I don't think any of those characters are from the comics, were they?
What was her name? Centauri or something like that?
Yeah,
not that I know. No,
I don't know. She was very familiar looking. She looked like a different character that I had recently saw on like Marvel Snap or something, but it wasn't the same character.
Yeah, that character with the cylinder for the head that shot the beam out. I hadn't seen anything like that before.
He was cool. I liked him. Coach talked about how much he liked him a bunch of times. Yeah, he was great.
Design.
Cool. Yeah, I think the character that can read minds, though, I think that character actually has a future, or is that a comic book character? I'm not quite sure. But I know I watch all.
You get that feeling just watching it that he feels like he's
he's important.
Yeah, I watch all the red carpets, and they had him on the red carpet, and they talked to him like he was going to be someone of importance. So yeah, it was interesting, and he did look kind of familiar too.
Okay, sure, but the real question is, did they really need to put Bill Murray's name on the poster? Man was in and out in 8 minutes flat.
Yeah, that was
boring scene. Didn't like
not really necessary. Whatever they paid Bill Murray, I'm kind of wondering, did they have to pay him millions for that appearance?
Oh, yes. Yeah, probably $2.5 million just for that one scene. Yeah. So what about the other story then? What about the whole Wasp and learning about Janet's past?
I hated
secret.
It was logical. It made sense to bring Kang into the whole story of Phase 5. To see Janet like kind of hiding that big fact. I mean, you would think that she would kind of talk about her time in the quantum realm, but she obviously didn't, and came back to kind of bite. But then, of course, you wouldn't have this movie if that was the case. So it's just one of those like kind of movie trope type of things that, I mean, it's
I kind of acknowledged it even in the spoiler-free one or prior to. She kind of took some of the second or third lead role away from Wasp. It felt like her screen time compared to Evangeline Lilly, it was like there was a big difference. It felt like, and even like the lines alone, she had so much more dialogue than the Wasp did. That's for sure. And I was into it. I like Michelle Pfeiffer, and she was probably one of the highlight performances, other than Kang, obviously, because he was just unreal.
And Michelle Pfeiffer is the original Wasp, right?
Yes, she's also a Catwoman, so that helps me.
I've seen Catwoman. It's all right. I don't know. Did anyone else get this feeling? I get the feeling that was like, I wouldn't say retcon because it was never like an established, but they certainly, we both rewatched both the first two Ant-Mans recently.
Yes, we did.
And then also if you think about Endgame, there's like no hint that the quantum realm actually has like a society at all, right? This idea, like, they use the quantum realm to time travel. Did Tony never like realize there was some sort of society? It definitely seems like they changed that in because it's a good way. It's a good excuse to like how do you introduce Kang in a way that's like not already taking over the world. So this made sense. It just seems like they left no hints in the previous continuity that there was a big society down there.
There was a tiny hint. I think if you pause it just right when they're traveling through, you can see like little sub-cities in the background. But I mean, that's just like, there's no way you're going to find that if you just watch the film normally.
All right, that's fair enough. You're probably
That
right.
type of
You're
thing,
talking. You're talking in Endgame. When they go get
I think
Michelle
in one of the Ant-Man films, actually, you can see like a city in kind of like a bubble type
Okay. When
part
they go
of
get-
like one of the stretched out like arms of the quantum realm. Yeah.
I don't. That doesn't sound familiar, but also it sounds entirely possible because Marvel is known for their tiny cameos, and we don't break all those down over here because
Yeah,
it's next
but,
level stuff.
Like I said, it makes sense. To Josh's point, it doesn't really feel like it's a microscopic society. It feels like a pretty cliche sci-fi society.
Yeah.
It felt like a space adventure. This just felt like they went to a new planet. That's how that felt. This
Yeah.
whole film felt to me. And I don't know how you could manage to do it differently, but
I don't either. I have no idea.
It's a tough thing
Again,
to
you'd
try
have
and
to just
follow
like
here.
you would have to just break the rules. There would have to be like no gravity, or there would have to be like everything is touch. Like everything is just like you could feel the force in everything. There would have to be some way to break reality to make it seem unique enough. But that's hard to pull off. Could have been cool though, but it does feel a little basic. But I don't mind it too much because, like you said, ultimately this film is to set up Kang.
Yep.
And
It served
do
that
that,
purpose. I will
it does
say.
a really good job doing that. I mean, does anyone disagree with that?
No, it helped me, really get to know that character a little bit more, and it's just another variant. I mean, I mean, we can spoil it now. The mid and post credit scene were both Kang related, and they were both exciting for the future of the MCU. I will say so. This film did a good job of bringing in a cameo character from Loki and giving them the full treatment for Marvel. And I said, even in the spoiler-free review, I think it was a big swing to have a C-level Avenger like Ant-Man take on the biggest threat that the Avengers have coming. I thought that was really cool and a smart way to, like, I don't know, do something different. I can appreciate that they tried to do something different as opposed to doing the same old looming Thanos that they did in the earlier phases, or even Loki, where like, okay, he's back, or Red Skull, he's got a big evil plan. It just felt a little bit different here with the major villain, and it's only one version of the major villain, so he's definitely unique, and I'm excited to see that play out.
Yeah, I think if this movie did anything, it really cemented Jonathan Majors as like
he's so good,
the villain. I mean, we already know Kang Dynasty's coming in the future.
Yeah,
Secret Wars. I mean, he's here to stay, and yeah, he was really good. I'm glad that the MCU plucked him away from all these other projects, so he can.
He
do the
has
next
so many
film.
projects. I saw something online. He had like 8 projects since like 2019. I watched a little bit of him in Lovecraft Country, and that's when I first like found out about him. I was like, he's really good, at least in the first couple episodes, because
Yeah.
it has a lot of like racial tension and stuff, and he plays that role really well. And this is a
Yeah.
completely like he has so much range, and I'm really excited because for a role like this, you need to have range. He's playing a million different like versions of the same character, and I think that's super exciting that he's giving most of them individual personality traits. And he did different accents, and none of them I was like,
Yeah.
that's a stupid Hollywood accent. I was like, okay, I can kind of buy this one here. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
appreciated.
When he was doing Lovecraft Country, that's when they made the announcement that he was cast, and
Yep.
then I think that's when all these MCU fans went to go check out Lovecraft Country to see his performance. And yeah, he's pretty good.
But, I want to get your guys' opinion. Do we think this variant that we met in Quantumania, do we think he's gone? Spoiler alert for the movie, he sort of does disappear at the end. But in
No.
the same way that, like, Red Skull does and stuff. We think he's
No.
sticking around, Josh?
I think he's sticking around. I think it's because they set him up to be like even the black sheep of an already pretty messed up family. I think that really is like even way in the future he might be like the one that the rest of the Kangs have to try and take down as well. And there's a weird uneasy alliance. There's a lot of different directions they can take this, but I don't think this. I almost want to call this Kang Prime. Is in my head, this is like the one that we're really going to be thinking about the most. I'm pretty confident about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are calling him Exiled Kang, and I think there's the onus and the just the overwhelming desire now for this Exiled Kang to come back and annihilate 616 Avengers and just take over 616. So I think there's I mean they've set it up now for him to be really pissed off, and he's already killed Avengers before, clearly. So I mean it's all set up now. We got.
I definitely appreciate that there's a hierarchy within even Kang variants. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because you could think that like Doctor Strange would never be subservient to another Doctor Strange, but in this universe, you've got exiled Kang who seems to have been part of like a high 4 or whatever, and now there's 3 of them left that are kind of the overlords of this stadium full of Kangs. And I find that to be a super interesting thing about that character as well, that it's not just copies of the same person, that the individual characteristics are going to be explored quite a bit, and the different levels of power and things. It's just really exciting for me to kind of take the idea of variants and just turn it up to 11. It's going to be really cool.
I hate to disappoint you, Josh, but I don't think you're going to get your wish. I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time with a lot of variants. I got a feeling that David's right. I think Exiled Kang is going to be the Kang.
Yeah,
that is like the main bad guy of a movie. He's going to get the most screen time. I think we will see the other Kangs in like cameo appearances and this and that. But I think even Kang Dynasty might end up being mostly just Exiled Kang's sort of revenge tour.
You know, it might be interesting. I don't know if they're going to do it, but it would be kind of cool and completely new if they dedicated like the mid-credit scene for every Marvel project to be different storylines following Kang, and then the post-credit scene be like what they've been typically doing with Marvel. Because then when the Kang Dynasty finally comes along, you could almost cut it together as like a short film, just putting together the mid-credit sequences. I think that would be really cool.
That is,
I don't know if they're put it all together. Yeah, all the Phase 5 films.
Just
that'd be neat.
Like
that'd be neat.
Like a hype trailer right before the new movie comes out. Like that's going to be the trailer for the movie, and it's like, wait, I've seen this before.
I'd be down for that.
It's a cool idea to like string together the story of like how the Kangs get together and get ready to fight us in the old dynasty there. But I think, like we said, I think we're all on the same page. This Kang is a big deal, so he's the one you got to get to know.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to watch this movie really if you're going to know the main bad guy. I think he's going to be interesting. I think he'll be every bit as good as Thanos. He's probably going to end up with more screen time than Thanos ever got, which is interesting to think about because Thanos got half a movie to himself.
I know, but if you multiply the projects, like the the frequency of Marvel projects coming out is automatically going to kind of equal more screen time for Kang, because they're churning these things out like crazy, which is not how it always was.
All right, let's get back to the plot of the movie and
Yep.
see how do we feel about the way it develops. That, like we said, there's the freedom fighter thing. Ant-Man fights back a little bit, mostly just to keep his daughter safe when they get attacked. We see MODOK. I mean, he's fine, right? Is there anything...
Is it mechanized organism designed only for killing? Is it mechanized? Is that the first word? Yeah. I'm into it. I even made a comment that, like, it makes total sense that he had to be funny, because you can't do that character seriously in most cases. They kind of did in the Avengers game, and I appreciated him in that. But I also know that, like, if you look like that with powers like that, you gotta have some comedy with it, because it's just a ridiculous looking character design. And if they were gonna translate that, it had to be silly.
And they show like a little butt.
Yep, the little butt was so stupid.
I do wish he was a little more intimidating. Like, they kept talking about how he's this hunter designed for killing. Do some more killing. You know what I mean? Like, let's kill some things.
Maybe, but at the same time, maybe it was just like he got reverted back to like the pansy he was on Earth when he ran into people that he knew. Just like when people come home from, I don't know, college, starting out with their high school friends again.
It feels like you probably could have had him like single-handedly attack that village and like put people down, and like,
I will say
cool.
During the scene where they're in prison and he said that he had the ability to kill Cassie over and over again, Coach was next to me. I was like literally rooting for him to kill her like once. I was like, if he can reverse it, like do it one time. Show us that you actually have some like cojones.
But here's what I was thinking. He can't do that. He has no control over time. The whole
know.
point is that he doesn't have control over time.
I get that he doesn't actually have it, but he threatened that he did. That's all I'm saying.
So, they definitely, it's like MODOK not intimidating. They made Kang very intimidating.
Yep.
It made him very scary. Because like I said, they do get captured. They end up in prison. It makes sense why Ant-Man helps them, right? It's sort of backed into a corner. The trailers made it seem like it was more of a, I made you a deal so you could have time with your daughter sort of thing. That is not what the movie presented at all. It was definitely more of a threat.
No, the trailer was a red herring, man. There wasn't a single time where I was like, oh, he
filed that
wants more
lawsuit?
Yeah, we could. What was it, the Ana de Armas movie where they sued them and they actually got to court because she was in the trailer but not the movie? Good times. Pop culture reference, guys. But anyway, this specific film,
a little disappointing. I think I'm disappointed by it because I actually liked that idea. I liked the emotional angle of like Scott chasing time with his daughter, and they don't go down that path at all.
Nope.
And so it felt like a very generic, like, I'm threatening you, and then you're just going along with it.
This is just a random thought, but it feels like Marvel needs an influx of violence. I know that doesn't seem like it might be all
to get it with Blade,
popular.
right?
We need something, man. This is all starting to feel like lollipops and just like generic bleh. And I'm kind of over it.
It's a little weird, a little annoying that like no one died in this movie. It's like, come on, man.
You had two geezers just waiting at the guillotine, and I thought for sure they were knocking them both off. They were just like, oh, we're gonna pansy out at the last minute. I was so mad that they didn't die.
Bill Murray got killed by that drink, right?
That wasn't cool enough.
That was funny. That creature looked.
It is funny though. That is funny.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have Kang, have him kill someone. It really is weird, but I'm annoyed with that. I think that's why that whole story is a little annoying.
Well, I gotta say this though, guys. I think the last decade I heard it over and over and over and over and over again. The MCU doesn't kill anybody, and then of course we get to killing Iron Man, like the main character, and then people are like, "Why did they kill Iron Man?" It's like it's one of those things.
Well, because
we know we're building up. Well, I mean, we know we're building up to 3 huge Avengers movies. I think we're gonna get deaths there.
I agree.
No doubt.
Okay, but I mean, don't tell me we need all of these characters for those movies, David, because we don't. There are 100 Avengers at this point. Kill 35 of them. We still have too many.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need everyone to fight in Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars.
I don't want to see that even a little bit, man. I don't want to see. Endgame was like the perfect perfect amount of people. I don't
Wow.
need 7 more super teams for one
what
Avengers
you think.
film.
Getting though.
That's
I
what you
know,
think
and
until
it's
you see
gonna
it.
drive me nuts.
You might be wrong though.
X-Men.
I
I thought the same thing when I watched Civil War. I was like,
No, that
Civil
was
War is
cool.
like the bright. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
then
but
I
there's
thought
like
that was the right
there's
number.
like there's like 10 characters in that. We're talking like
That's what I'm saying.
100.
But I thought Civil War was perfect, and then Endgame came, and I was like, well, I was wrong. Endgame's even cooler. So we don't know. You never know.
You know,
disagree.
I think there's going to be so many teams that we're going to see in these Avengers films. They're going to pull teams directly lifted off the comic books.
Yes, if you separate them into the different Avengers movies and you have different teams, then sure, we can have 3 teams of 15 or whatever. But if we get 80 Avengers in one scene fighting one guy and his goons, I'm gonna get upset, man. And it's so dumb. I don't need to see all that, dude.
That's
too
essentially
much.
what the end of Endgame was.
Yes,
whatever.
I'm saying it was cool in Endgame, and they don't need to do it again because it's gonna make me mad.
Well, that's gonna happen.
That's just copying itself, dude.
What do we think of the weird? I don't even know what you call it. The weird dimension where like there was all the different possibilities, but somehow the possibilities could.
That just felt like a Doctor Strange scene shoehorned into an Ant-Man movie. Is what that felt like.
It definitely didn't follow any logical consistency.
No.
Nope. But there was a couple of visuals I kind of liked in it. I liked watching the big giant Ant-Man disintegrate. I like that stuff.
They hit that Baskin-Robbins joke one too many times. It was funny twice, and they did it like 4 times, and I was over that pretty quick.
But it was funny once, and
it was funny once, But he had 4 lines. That stupid variant of Scott was so like irritating, just that he was even there.
Yeah, I like the scene enough. It's not my favorite thing, but it sort of sets up and.
The amount of Ant-Man, like, it just kept multiplying, but it didn't follow, like you said, it didn't follow any rules, because it was like, when they made a different decision, that's when there was another one, but then they all collectively made the same decision, but then at that point, wouldn't every single one of them be making the opposite decision not to help him? It's just, it was all nonsense. That's what it was.
That's so going back to the Baskin-Robbins thing, we're going to mention it more than it needs to be mentioned here, but so fine. Baskin-Robbins, what is it famous for?
They're
31 flavors, right?
Sure, yeah.
So Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was the 31st MCU film as well.
Boom! That's funny.
I didn't know that. That is funny. I don't know how they timed that out perfect. Baskin-Robbins always knows. Yeah, they always find out.
Baskin-Robbins timed it up is the thing. They knew.
We're the Baskin-Robbins timeline.
It's the big dairy industry, They got their hands in everything.
Yeah.
Big dairy and Pat Mahomes. They rule the world.
Oh man, Pat Mahomes and his Busch Lights trying to hand out the Super Bowl trophy.
That's a really funny. That's a really funny clip.
Yeah, you should watch that.
Okay, so let me get the stuff. They end up losing the device to Kang, who for some reason takes
the battery. Let's just call it the battery, the orb battery. That's what it was. It powered up the chair. Catwoman took it away from him. They slapped it with a couple of the discs. And that was the whole movie. They just had to get it back to orb sized.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure the science behind how it got back there, but it worked somehow.
I also didn't like how when they had all the things slapped together, it had both blue and red. It wasn't just one color, so it made no sense. It wasn't like they just made it small and just made it big. She took all of them and slapped it on.
Oh, yeah. I know
it's like, is it big or
I wondered
small,
about that too. I was like,
I'm telling you, all the rules about making things bigger and smaller make no sense. How did they get bigger? You're in a tiny realm, so when you get bigger in a tiny realm, does that still take energy? You're still infinitely smaller than you actually are. So are you even big? Because you're not. Whatever. I don't care.
I think that works out.
We're gonna move past that.
Because when you see Giant Man at the end of Endgame, he's moving slowly. But when you see Giant Man in the quantum realm, he's actually moving kind of fast, a little faster. I don't know.
I don't love this conversation.
Whatever. I agree. The logic doesn't track, but it was cool. So I did like when they attacked. I like Giant Man's attacking. I thought there was a couple good little action going on there. Of course, they pulled the Star Wars off again, and they just had the the ships come in last second to save everyone because, of course, why not? The ants were much cooler moment. I thought the ants coming in was.
Dismulchin's character felt like he was straight out of Rick and Morty. That's kind of how that character felt to me. And I don't even watch that much Rick and Morty, but that's how he felt. Some of these other guys were fun. I don't know. The whole end scene, it was fine.
Yeah, but it had the best joke in the whole thing when Cassie
Oh
was
man,
MODOK.
yeah, oh yeah. MODOK got to deliver the funniest line of the movie.
I loved it.
Good stuff.
I can't remember the setup, but I just remember.
Well, she says, "Stop being a dick," and then he's like sitting there defeated, and he's like, "Just look at me, just a dick." And then her advice to him was just stop being a dick, and it went from there, and it was great.
Stop being such a dick, but how? I'm such a
dick.
I did
it's
like
funniest
that.
part of the movie. Yep, that was your spoiler-free review.
That was
spoiler.
Yeah, I don't get to use the word dick as a spoiler often, so I appreciate the movie giving me that chance.
Yeah, does the MPA not think dick is that bad? Because they said it several times.
A lot. I think they're starting to like kind of pull back on these rating things because every really, 6-year-old has a TikTok and is selling their parents' credit card information for extra lives in Bejeweled or whatever the hell kids are playing nowadays.
Yeah, but I feel confident that if you said the word dick as male genitalia, it wouldn't be allowed.
That's true.
Like what makes it funny.
Context,
that, like,
yeah.
The context does change.
Yeah, but in that context, like you're literally saying it like that, though.
I know it's dumb. It's stupid.
Doesn't track. I mean, where they're like, "Well, he's just saying he's not a Richard." That's how they got it past him.
I don't love that Kang could get overrun by a bunch of ants, but I guess they were super future.
It made
ants.
sense. It made sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, anything can overrun you. I mean, it just has to be.
There was a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was fine with that part.
I know, but he's supposed to be able to take on like all the Avengers, which I'm sure it's all context.
I don't know, man. There are a lot more ants than we have Avengers, but I guess not for long because we have all these projects coming up.
X-Men, X-Force, Fantastic Four, West Coast Avengers, Spider-Man's.
The Young Avengers.
Young Avengers.
Another Young Avenger and Cassie. Yeah.
White Vision.
Oh, he's my favorite.
When's that guy coming back?
A little bit of philosophy. It's all he's going to do the whole time.
How did we feel about its place within the MCU just in general? But outside of it just being the platform for Kang to jump into the MCU, did it feel like it really served the greater timeline in any way other than that?
No.
Just felt like an adventure that happened in a microscopic world that nobody cared about, which I think I kind of appreciated that Scott made a joke about that at the end. He's like, "Oh, shoot, that means I'm going to lose." Then he starts going into like existential crisis, and then he goes back to the happy music. He's like, "Nah, it's probably fine."
That's a great scene.
Yes, that's
like,
wonderful.
Wait, but he said something bad was going to happen. So, but he is dead.
Did I just end the world? Yeah, that was great.
That scene's great. I loved all that stuff. Which is why I think the Exile Kang is going to be the big deal, because I think that whole like idea of timelines crashing is going to be what Kang Dynasty is ultimately about. But yeah, I think ultimately this movie itself is going to be exactly what I think all the Ant-Man movies are. It's like I can't believe there's a whole trilogy of those movies, and I think they're all mid.
Listen, I hate to do it, guys, but I think this is the worst trilogy so far. Like, is there any real comparison? There's Thor that had the stinker, and then like half a stinker with the fourth one, which isn't kind of pushes it past a trilogy, but like most of them had like one weak one, but the other 2 or 3 made up for it. This Ant-Man one, like they were all mid. I still like the first one the most, but even then, I mean, what was that movie? I don't know what I would rate. Maybe like a 7. I'll give that one a 7. Ant-Man and the Wasp is like a 3 or 2.
I thought the first Ant-Man was pretty good. I really liked it. As an introduction to Ant-Man, and Ant-Man is like one of those like kind of like beloved niche characters that's not like one of the super big ones, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough to say because I have a lot of love for Ant-Man, but I guess you could say it's the worst trilogy out of all of them. I guess Iron Man,
Captain America,
you mentioned
Thor, Avengers,
quadrilogy. Captain America. It's going to be another quadrilogy kind of.
We got the Guardians,
I
and
definitely
Guardians
like the
3
Guardians better.
really has to
Spider-Man.
take a tank to make it the worst trilogy. That's for sure.
So far, who has the best trilogy?
The
Captain
best
America.
trilogy?
Captain America.
Yeah, it's Captain
It's
America.
got two of the strongest movies, period. And then the first one's like,
it also,
okay,
I mean, it's cheating a little bit that it gets Civil War.
gets all the characters
Yeah.
in Civil War,
because
but
Civil War is also an Iron Man movie. So
there's no rules here. We ranked the Marvel trilogies. If you guys want to go check out that episode.
Yeah, so I do think, I mean, Captain America gets to cheat a little bit, so it makes it an easy win. But I don't know. I'm excited to see Guardians 3. I think there's a chance I'll really like that one.
I think everyone's excited for that one. You guys got the trailer, right? Before Quantumania?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Some Marvel news. I mean, I guess we could finish up Ant-Man, but we can talk about the poster for the Marvels after we finish up here because that thing looks cool.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else about the actual film that we want to talk about, or do we want to jump to the mid credits?
I got a question for you guys. So
Sure.
we see Kang burning out people from existence with his like palm.
Yeah, that
hand
thing was
raised.
cool. Yeah.
So what was stopping him from doing that to Ant-Man and the Wasp? Because he hit them, right? A couple times.
I thought
you
the
see,
same
David,
thing. Did he put his blasters on stun or something? Like,
they're main characters. That's why they're main characters and they're on contract. The rest of the guys are
So
just
that's the
extra.
reasoning.
They paid no money for those people.
Just
to
have them
die.
not get shot. It's a very easy editing choice. I don't understand. It's stupid.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
is Kang just playing like the long game, kind of like what
No.
Doctor Strange was doing, and that he had to let them live?
he does
so
know
he-
multiple timelines, so I
Yeah,
guess
so he
maybe
can
there's
execute what he saw in the
there's some
future.
traction there. I don't know for
Yeah,
sure,
no.
but he knows all, so I guess that could make sense. That he's like, well, I got to leave Ant-Man alive so he can screw something up later, which leave it up to Scott to do that. So there you go.
I kind of like their final fist fight. I was about that life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
into that. It was very reminiscent of like anti-roids Chris Evans in the first Captain America. He's like, I can do this all day. I don't have to win. We just both have to lose. That was fantastic. Wasp coming in. Dude, I thought they made the choice to keep Ant-Man and the Wasp in that realm. And I was like, that was a bold choice. I stand behind it. And then me immediately backed down from it. And it took half a second for them to send another signal down. I didn't care for that. I didn't care for the whole conclusion because like there was no deaths. There was no real tragedy.
Stakes.
There did seem like there was much for repercussions.
There was stakes, and the stakes were Kang. I think that the stakes are Kang escaped. I think.
know,
Like,
but
whatever that was, he escaped somehow, and
That's true.
That's the stakes.
it should have been. They should have done more though. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. But that's okay. I mean, you're right. That's going to be a huge deal in the future of the MCU. So I can't knock it too much. But
Yeah, which is why they
come
answered the
on,
question.
do something. Kill
Um,
Hank or Janet. Like, do something that's gonna like rip your heart out at the end, not just
it
leave it
was-
up for
It was
interpretation.
never going to matter to me. I didn't care about them enough. It was never.
No,
gonna
I know, but it would have ripped the characters' hearts out. You know, give them a little bit of emotional depth. Paul Rudd hasn't had enough tragedy in his life.
That's fine.
You don't want to see Michael Douglas in the original Ant-Man suit?
Well, he's had
I-
3 movies now, so
he
he's not-
was the the coolest he's been in any of the movies. I will say.
I can't believe he still hasn't put a suit on. Don't piss me
The
off.
fact that he controlled the ant army, that was cool. I was a fan of that. I was like, that's a true homage to him being the OG Ant-Man, and he's having them all roll up on Kang. That was
I
the
do like
one
that-
scene that I was like, that was pretty cool.
I like
Sign
that he
me
just
up for more
kind of
of
likes ants. Yeah,
That
I like
is really
ants.
funny.
Yes. Ants are cool. I like them. Yeah, to your point, I think the movie itself, I'll never think about again. Really, I probably won't even like be like, oh, yeah, that's right, that's what Kang was.
That's
And
the.
I'll
I
think
think
I'll like Kang, and I don't know how I feel like.
maybe that's one of the major flaws of this trilogy. Is just it's not rewatchable. I've talked about it before. Like we did rewatch. Like I literally watched Ant-Man and Wasp for the second time for the episode we did earlier this week. And the original Ant-Man is like maybe a little bit more, but like the jokes aren't funny the second and third time, really. So like, what's the point in watching the movie again? It's the stakes aren't there. It doesn't feel like it affects the end. Like, this trilogy almost feels like it didn't have to happen at all. In the broader MCU, almost would have not been affected. There's a couple things that obviously, you know, he's the one that comes and he gets out of the quantum realm and yada 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 for Avengers Endgame, but outside of that, it just feels insignificant.
Why did he never run into anybody while he was stuck in the quantum realm?
That I thought the same thing too. And then the time thing, we've already talked about how that doesn't make any sense. How she was gone for 30 years and she actually aged 30 years, but Paul Rudd was gone for 5 years, and he said it felt like 30 minutes. Like, was he in like a higher tier of the quantum thing that he didn't?
He was in a time
down?
vortex. That's where he was. He wasn't in the quantum realm established.
The quantum realm.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Iron Man, the part of the quantum realm that he tapped in for time travel is different than the part of the quantum realm that Kang is stuck in, where he can't influence time. I don't know.
I hate
it's
it though.
not perfectly explained.
That,
I do kind of hate it, but that is what it is. Yeah. Going forward, we talked about the end scenes a little bit already. There's one that's a cool, weird Coliseum of Kangs. They get the.
I did like the three looks like they're going to be the main ones. I was into that. They they seem pretty unique. There was one futuristic one that was a pharaoh, one was derivative of like Genghis Khan, and I was like, if you're going to pick three things to like have be your three mains, that's kind of cool. So
yeah,
I'm totally invested in Kang. I even really liked the second scene, no matter how short it was, which obviously, again, spoilers, because I don't know, maybe someone is stupid and didn't sit through the Marvel credits, but we got to see Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson come back to reprise their characters from the Loki TV show, and it looks like they're trying to stop the original Kang that caused all these variants. That kind of seemed to be what it was implying, that he was some weird like scientist back in the 1800s or whatever, and he was doing like a sideshow, and that's how this whole thing started. I don't know the true origin story of Kang. I am a comic book guy, but I can't say that this fell in my purview. So, you know, it's still cool though. I really liked that second scene.
No, it definitely feels like it's going
set up
to
season 2 for sure.
Season 2 of Loki, I think, might be like the definitive backstory for like the idea of Kang. I think they are going to.
I hope season 2 is mostly centered around Kang, and that kind of seems to be what I was implying. And I'm super into that. I've historically, poo-pooed on the Loki TV show because it felt rushed and it was a COVID show and things like that. I am going to rewatch the first season and see if I feel a little bit better about it now. Maybe I will, but the fact that Sylvie was like one of the main focuses of the first season, that was great, but she's now part of the team, so you don't have that dynamic and going into the second season. So they got to have like a central story, and Kang feels like the perfect candidate.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's cool stuff. Let's talk about the Marvels just a little bit. Not that the poster gives anything contextually away. We've all seen
other than they went cold to warm like every other movie poster in existence, but I at the same time I liked this one, so can't even complain about it.
I'm just getting excited about it is what's happening. I'm getting excited.
I don't want to be let down again, man. Please make this one be better.
Were you excited about the first Captain Marvel?
No, I hated it. No, I'm saying just like the Marvel movies seem to be missing a lot lately for me. I liked Wakanda Forever, and Multiverse was really good too, but that was a year ago at this point. So
there hasn't been that many movies, Josh. You're starting to sound
I know it just
like
feels
real
like a hater
Twitter bot here.
Well, that's because I've been replaced. I had the CGI art thing that everybody played through on Facebook, and I just had it take over my hosting duties on the Marvel Stuff podcast.
Yeah. The Marvels, I think, is exciting. It's a little too far off to get too excited about it, but if you haven't seen the poster, it's got the 3 different Marvels. I honestly had forgotten that there's going to be 3 Marvels.
Well, you got Spectrum, from WandaVision and the first Captain Marvel. So cool stuff. Hey, man. I like this. Seems like it's gonna be Freaky Friday body swap thing. That was what was teased at the end of Ms. Marvel. So hey, that's gonna be cool, man. Sign me up. Let's do something fun. Let's mix it up a little bit, man. No more. Just have some fun with the plot. You don't need to be as cookie cutter as you have been in a couple of movies. I feel like the MCU needs a shakeup. They really do.
Do we have any idea who the villain's going to be?
Not even a little bit.
The Kevin Feige bot? No, it's probably like the Skrulls, I imagine. Right?
No, they haven't said anything about it. We have no idea.
Well, they did that the last time, right?
Yeah, they might take one of the scrolls and have them come back. I don't know, man. I mean, no, we don't know. I'm just purely speculating. I have no idea who the villain's going to be for this next one.
I did. There's a moment in time that I did sort of know because because of who she swaps with, like where Miss Marvel is. The whole bracelets. It's something to do with the bracelets. I can't remember like who that connects them to, but it's something to do with that. It's some sort of different reality villain. It's no one you've heard of really, but it's connected to because that's how it happens.
You mean it's
Miss
not
Marvel's-
Mephisto?
Ooh, Mephisto confirmed. Might as well be Mephisto.
He's going to get around. He's going to.
I think he's the main villain of Ironheart. I believe that is confirmed. Sacha Baron Cohen. I don't know if that's going to be the premiere of that character, but he's going to be the main antagonist of Ironheart, which you could have given me 17 to 25 guesses, and Ironheart would not have fallen under my purview
that
of where
feels
Mephisto
like a
was going to
weird
show up. There's no
Protagonist
crossover,
choice.
but it is. I'm telling you, it was confirmed. So I don't know how they're going to make it work, but let's do it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm excited about the future of the MCU. Despite
I know
Josh's
there's certain things that I
whining.
am excited about though. That's the thing. Is I don't know. I'm feeling a little hot and cold. So let's get some steam up in here. I'm trying to go on a hot streak again.
I would like everybody to just publicly shame Josh anytime you see him.
Stop! It's okay. You can go back
Josh
and
saw
see how I
one
felt.
trailer for Flash, and all of a sudden he thinks DC.
Oh, I'm
better.
switching teams. I've always been on Team DC, to be clear, but the Marvel movies are pretty much better, so that's okay.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos recently that say DC is about to overtake Marvel, but I mean,
No shot.
The Flash is going to be awesome.
yeah.
No, I think I'm really looking forward to all of James Gunn's going to do. If you guys want to listen to our opinions on that, go to the episode from 2 weeks ago with me and David, and we broke it down. It all sounds like really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to take them a decade to even catch up to Marvel, let alone surpass them. So let's calm down, guys.
So, do we get a Fantastic Forecasting by the end of this month?
I really hope so. Oh, we don't do rumors on here very often, but I did see something about Matt Shackman having lunch with Mila Kunis, and people are speculating that ooh, Invisible Woman. I'm like, hey, sure, I like her a lot. She's wonderful. So if she's into it, then sign me up. As long as Ashton Kutcher's Mr. Fantastic. No, I'm just kidding. He would be a terrible casting. Don't do that, please.
He seems a little old though for Invisible Woman.
I know. I thought the
don't
same
know.
thing. That's why I thought the rumor was weird. But I brought it up anyway because, why not?
I have a feeling we have a bit of time still before we're going to find out.
I don't know, man, because the internet's kind of going crazy about who they're gonna cast. There was rumors of the dude from You is gonna be playing Mr. Fantastic as opposed to Krasinski on 616. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I still think I have a chance. I have a couple calls in.
Nope.
No, I do not.
No shot.
I am
Nope.
fat, lazy, and I would never get off my couch. To even
That's not
pretend
true. If you were getting
like-
paid millions of dollars to play that character, you would definitely do it. Also,
Yeah,
they
but
give you a trainer and a dietitian. It's like, yes, it is hard and you have to put in the work, but also you have everything you need to get in Marvel shape. So let's calm down with giving them all the credit in the world. It's not like they're doing this on their own.
Man.
I'm giving myself anti-credit is what's happening. Maybe I'll be the thing.
Well, you can nag yourself all you want. That's your prerogative.
Well, I'm gonna go do that then, and I'll leave the audience to enjoy themselves, have fun, and we'll see you guys next week as we continue this Marvel adventure. Hope you guys liked Ant-Man. We'll talk about it a little more in the future just to keep the flow going. But we got other projects to look forward to. Let us know what you guys thought of Ant-Man. Were you excited about it? Did you feel the energy? Do you think it's the right way to start Phase 5? Are we hyped for Phase 5? All that good stuff. Let us know in our Facebook group. Obviously, rate our podcast, all that good stuff, because we love you. David loves you. And we hope you guys have a ton of fun, and we'll see you next time. But until then, don't have too much fun.